discuss with you the history of ZINASU, which is on its own is not an innocent history, but a history loaded with a lot of contestations, a lot of misinformation, a lot of controversies and so forth. And I'm sure I will not disagree with all those notions about the history of ZINASU. I'll agree with them because I lived them, lived through them, seen them, and they continue to live and continue to survive. But I should say to you that I feel very honored to come and speak to you as a former student leader of ZINASU. And I'm equally jealous that in my time as a young person like you, I did not manage to topple Robert Mugabe. I may find solace in telling myself that at least we planted the seed to fight against the regime of Robert Mugabe. But I'm so jealous that I've passed the age of becoming a president in this country, but I failed during my time to topple him. When I look at people like Robert Mugabe, Magama, Tongogara, Emerson Mnangagwa, if I look at a lot of some of these young people who were fighting against the Smith regime, I find it stupid that I stand before you here and talk about the student movement. Yet I did not manage to put a final blow to one of the most atrocious dictatorships in this country. And you are testimonies to that dictatorship. You always say, no, Trima born free. But I want to change that narrative. You have been born in the bondage of ZANU-PF, so you are not born free at all. So the perpetuation of the struggle for liberation started then, and you have to perpetuate it. Now, just on the history of ZINASU, I hear some say it was 1997. Hopewell Gumbo is the second president of ZINASU. There are people who have been second presidents of ZINASU as well in the history, and it's not out of mischief. It's not out of mischief. If you talk to Atam Tambara, he'll tell you about the great ideas they had around establishing the Zimbabwe National Students Union. I talked to him when I was still in college, and they were trying to share and understand their generation coming onto the fight against neoliberalism in the mid-90s. So, idea is ZINASU was there and was discussed a long time ago. And Atam Tambara, when he was the president of UZ, and by that time, the University of Zimbabwe was the only university in the country, and the only site of visible student activism in the country. Not to say that there were no other students' union in colleges, teachers' colleges, and polytechnical colleges, but in terms of activity, that would be visible in terms of the claim for the name for Voice of the Voiceless, it was the UZ. So that idea was talked about and was discussed. They had also a vision of building a national students' union. And by virtue of that UZ being the only campus as the universities, it was no less a national students' union. So, like it or not, the University of Zimbabwe was the national students' movement leadership in terms of the articulation of the right to education, right, freedom of association, freedom of speech, academic freedom, and so forth. So they laid that. So the idea of ZINASU was there. You talk to Enoch, not Enoch, the brother to Enoch Chikwete, brother to Nyara Chikwete, Tendai Chikwete. Some of the pioneers of the National University of Science and Technology, those ideas, and those ideas were exchanged by snail mail. What's now email that time? I told you that Samba. General Council, I said, they were Samba, Kunyora, post to phones. We had to go to the headmaster's office to try and phone. To phone the union, and so forth. I know it NAS used to go to the dean of students' office and ask for the phone to call. Remind me to talk about the cell phone issue in the student movement. So that idea was there. That was in the late early 90s. Idea guy, when you talk about that, National Chiweta, who in the politics, they also discussed these ideas in a big way. And then come the mid-90s, the government of Zimbabwe had started to withdraw Nyaya support to education. Right? You, when you go to teachers' college, you just wake up and no one has to wear. Chako printer, simple, my blankets, my towels, my sheets, linen. Where is going to go about? Chako was to carry either a full or an empty brain and enter the Windows start. I mean, after a TP, you supported Upo Maria. University is the same. You would walk in, then grant and loan. The loan you would pay back over time. So one of this, that was available. And so, starting in 1993-94, there were cutbacks because government didn't adopt the economic structural adjustment program. If you read about it, Google about it, economic structural adjustment programs the world over, they talk about cutting back on social services, be it health, be it whatnot. I always give an example. When I grew up, every term, every child I was told was simple, a urine was two, we not check up the Asia. Then can more my garam class teacher and go ahead and show in my pocket was Hopewell Gumbo, 50 plus. Never want my James 50 plus. Then you go and take that medicine, right? But now people die of bilharzia. Is that not so? Now people die of flu. Why if you had a boy, you would get admitted in the hospital. Right? Now, so this is so the government has started to withdraw those issues. So what you find now is not what Zimbabwe was. It's something that was introduced by Robert Mugabe, the government. He had key ministers like Bernard Chidzero, people like forget some of these laborious ministers that were in this cabinet there. So, Dova introduced those. The working class movement started to fight it bit by bit. There were big struggles. Muma campuses were to fight this cutback. Kuma teachers' colleges, bacon and egg now was no longer part of the menu. They wanted to introduce my fees as well. Kuma colleges, they wanted to introduce 50% fees policy. Fees 50% in. So during our time, we fought that and we pushed it back. But this is the time when government is cutting back, right? And you find it in many spaces. We health, I've already mentioned it. Kuma retrenchment, government, companies. And this is the time when people were told to tighten the belts. So the pinch, in the communities at large. But there was a time when government started to accelerate it in a big way. The capital which was around. Because I'll argue with you that 1995, 96, 97, 98, when the Zimbabwe were saying, I think most of you were like 3 years old, 4, 5 years old during that time. When people were saying, I'm just people like the late Eric Bloch, who about Eric Bloch as well, Eddie Cross, who is now with the MDC, people like John Robertson. Why Talkman Zimbabwe is fantastic. Nigerian for sugar. When everybody was tying their tummies, big business in capital were making quite a lot of money. And things were good for business, but were actually stumble. So during that period, you could teach and resist. You could no longer fight that battle alone as NAST. You would not fight it alone as U-side. And the technicalities around it, the rebooting of the question is NAST. So 1996, 97, 1996, 97, right? Yeah, 97, I'm correct. I am the president of the National University of Science and Technology. After I had spent a year at the UZ, before I joined the engineering faculty at NAST. So I was in the Revolutionary Command Council during those 1.5 years. The Revolutionary Command Council was the armed wing, or rather, people would want to call it the armed wing, but it was armed in terms of the ideas of defending the space here student movement. It was the group of an informal grouping of people across campuses that was saying, no guys, yes, we have our SRCs, you guys, but they need backup. We need people in Swindon, we need people in Baghdad, we need people in the U-side, we need people elsewhere who are going to continue to mobilize and galvanize the movement. So I was part of that, getting through the ropes. So in 1995, we have this big breakout here, anti-police brutality demonstration. When a pregnant woman was shot in town by police, and that triggered a lot of activity. And they already, the crisis, eco modification of education at the UZ campus. Where one would retrench, and there was something called outsourcing. I remember having a big fight with our late colleague, Len Moore Jongwe. Then Mojumbe said, no, look at the word, it's called outsourcing. So it's not privatization. Hopewell, please, stop. Let's allow it to go. No. This is not the way to go. What it simply means that we're selling out all these things. Sagune ducks to use it. I don't know whether it's still there. So ducks were supposed to be shelved over here. I know I'm independent. We know people like Chavunduka also wanted to, who was the vice chancellor, they wanted to grab something. So this big wave starts. You say, where do we go now? Guys, we have to consolidate and fight. So Saka, University of Zimbabwe gets closed, and a lot of eruptions come from various colleges. Food, Shota, Nene, and so forth. So we sit down as ZINASU and say, guys, where are we going? So now we have to consolidate our power on a national scale. Then we decided to do that. One of the impediments to that process was the superiority complex that the University of Zimbabwe and the National University of Science and Technology were giving themselves. I still mention three university on my college, so we cannot unite. And during that process, teachers' colleges were also mobilizing in a significant way. And this ZINASU, in teachers' colleges. There was Trump, Jacob Rukweza, there was a key leader, Anna Sharari, with the key leaders in there. We can even break away from, we'll smash this, NAS will not survive. Then when Charlton went there leading NASPOTEC at Arane Poly, I told them, no, we can go it alone is still NASPOTEC. We don't care about you universities. You struggle anywhere in your guys. But we had to come to some sobriety in dealing with that. So Lenmo was the president of UZ, and at that time I was NAST president. Then we sat down, fought within our own SRCs to say, guys, if you ever heard about NASTUs, NAST UZ Association, an association that was being championed by Shepard Nyamande, who was my vice president, and Gabriel Shumba Marichera, who was at the UZ. So we said, colleagues, this is not the way to go. The way to go is for us to unite as one ZINASU. So we established illegal structures that we managed to move with. And this is the time of activity. Quite of my demonstrations are really after, and we needed to consolidate and bring them together. We said, I gave myself the title regional president of ZINASU. So this title allowed us to, for us it wasn't the question of power, but it was supposed to give title to this formation that we were trying to build. Sakataka mobilize along that we would do our leaflets. That's not what's up. My leaflets, do our leaflets. The leaflets do attend to sing attend an our college. You see, Chunukando, and we're mobilizing using those. Sakataka those processes. Then ultimately, we met at the General Council meeting at the UZ, where the SRC preceding mine met, then let's reorganize ZINASU. So it was established, I think Lemo was there, Musala, Murokera was there. From NAST there was Ophias, some guys, Ophias, I know it was a treasurer, then there was a guy who was the NAST, the guy took over from, not Tami, not Paul Mtuzu. Google those names. Paul Mtuzu was then the president. Then I agreed on that. But what was happening was these guys were already going out of office. Paul Mtuzu was going to be graduating. The same applied to Ophias. And Analene Mo were also going to be graduating in about 3 months or so. So we set up, and then we got that ZINASU established. So 3 months down the line, was the first ZINASU executive technical. I now been sister for that long time. Because these guys were already going out of campus. So they go into office for 3 months. I was also going out of office at my nasty thing. But with this idea now, let's rebuild ZINASU. So 3 months down, then we called for the General Council, which then elected the leadership, yes, ZINASU, with me, after the first one. And Nelson Chamisa was then the Secretary General. I was an illegal participant in that election. But remember, this time ZINASU is a very, very volatile. Volatile, I mean, it was a chameleon kind of nature constitution here in ZINASU. So I remember at the General Council meeting, which elected us into office, we did not bother ourselves with dealing with the questions of the Constitution into electing a new leadership. We established the rules of how we're going to go ahead. So for us, it was going to be one of the reasons why I had to be illegally smuggled was that of the generation, of the whole generation who had started this idea about 8 months down the line, I was the only person who was still going to be in the SRCs. And Blessing Zulu, who was not gunning for any office at that time. The colleagues who had come in, yes, the zeal to be championing the student movement are going ahead, but we're not on the same template in terms of understanding the unity we tried to bring together risked just erupting. So it was actually a contested election. Some said, no, you cannot contest. And one of the persons who was contested for president in that election was Edwin Mwanza, who had become the president of the SRC after me at NAST. So I got to contest in my elections. Fortunately or unfortunately, I don't know whether we take it in whatever sense, he did not manage. I think he got a vote from himself. And I had about 21 votes. Then the vice president, Zapas came, the Zapas from Technical College. I got 3 or 2, I can't remember. One of the reasons why he also lost Zapas is one of the people who was now championing the idea as Zikosu. Nana Jacob Rukwesa. So there were all these contestations, and Zikosu was not a ZANU-PF animal. We labeled them ZANU-PF because we wanted our Shibisa. Could like unpopular because of the ideas that we bring in the student movement. Then division. So those are guys. And I we smeared them on that basis. You know how you play this smear games. But we survived because the agenda again put it TJ. So that was it. Elections. I remember Nelson Chamisa also wanted to contest the presidency. But we agreed that we would not want to lose the charisma that we had seen in him, in the new stream that was coming. And we would also discuss the ideas of bringing up this ZINASU. And said, no, we would rather contest on this platform because we knew everybody and there was some general consensus on how we were going to go. And he almost got a similar tally of the votes with me because I'm happy now came Yeah, so at that time there were also issues that I had been arrested in Solusi for leading my students to Blawa. We stole money from the SRC but we produced the receipt for the hiring the bus. And we went there, so we've been arrested. So there were issues as well with people saying, no, how can you contest the elections? But it was also just adding the flame to the idea that we should lead the student movement. So with that was that, and we had the election. ZINASU Shai also contested presidency, but he got 0. I think that guy went too excited. I don't know, but he got 0. I would go into the humor around the election, but this is it. This is how we bring this. The task was now for us to now.
So you are not supporting.
Yeah. So it was now to consolidate to the movement. It was not an easy task. The union then at that time relied mostly on the resourcing from the University of Zimbabwe Students Union. SRC ran an account. We were also running an account with NAST. Yes, you said it was a bit autonomous because I told sign a check for us, we had to go through the system of the administration and sign requisition and so forth, transparent, and also then come back and account transparent. But fortunately, we also had a supportive working class movement at NAST which supported us. Account aside. So that's how for probably 6 or so months, we ran the union on those lines to support the entire nation. But this is the time also when potential for funding for ZINASU comes in. There was a person who is now the vice chancellor or pro-vice chancellor of the Wits University, and was Dr. Tawana Kukui. He was working with some Norwegians, and they had his PhD, I think, in Norway as well. So he came, he wanted to fund the NAST SRC and NASTEDA, the Association of Lecturers, which was being led the now Vice Chancellor of HIT, Quinton Bankam. But we said, Dr. Kupe, in Masamba Asiana, we are looking national now. This is the way we are going. But I'm not sure that we have to go national, and if this funding is to come, let it go for the national funding. So then came a guy who was called Sandstore from SAIS. Then he came, he offered us flights to Harare to come and discuss with him and they instigate the possibility of going forward. Right now project proposal now. Inga Buddha. Proposal Inga Buddha. We had no experience, nothing whatsoever in putting together a bureaucracy to run a professional union. Saka Papa Sina, what do we do? It's a trouble. When they put this a proposal, when you were also working for ZINASU, Southern African Students Union, Inga Buddha proposal until we then sat down with Dr. Kupe and said, guys, I know it's not going to win, let me do it for you. He did a proposal for us. And the Fumaka to Wiao, this is when ZINASU started to establish bureaucracy at the Zimbabwe. Because Jengo was my phone is Mamengo, Mamengo. I saw one in our library at home. I'll circulate the photos someday. So I tell you so line phone during that time. I plan problem area so that's how we start the bureaucracy as ZINASU, trying to put up people who work here, secretariat being led by Rabia. There's a lady called Rabia, I think he works for Christ or something. Yeah. So she was our key person as a secretariat. And the chief administrator was Nelson Chamisa. So this comes the cell phone issue, just as an aside. We got a cell phone from Econet, because I got to a license, and ZINASU has been key in fighting for the license. Some supported. So I got to a cell phone. So who owns the cell phone? President and the SG.
Obviously, guys, obvious.
Yes, I did it chief administrator as I look at we had fights all over. How we said there's a man of banking good but information and publicity pass down. Saka I got a quantity one or could be the week. So Yaga so that's very more when did I go soon after the meeting, I'm discussing the final meeting. I got started to train and I will. So I lost it at Sun City Night Club. Somebody pinched the phone. That was what I was saying. So somebody pinched it then, but I think we could retrieve the line and Nelson continued to use it, and I think by now he still uses the line. Yeah, there's a time when I says not sometimes gonna phone number the phone. It was a relative of his who was using it. No, not that it was anything Italian or not. Because the revolution in myself when Yagas we are fast. That one on my line, but who not line what you do, just give it to the next person. So that's how we went. There was no corruption in but I'm just giving you the humor. And the contestations, the petty contestations that we also had in the student movement, that was one. Which you continue to find them, they may take a different form now because cell phone may someone maybe the t-shirt level, they're not going and so forth. But that's besides the point. So this the ZINASU we have. So remember I also said the rebooting of ZINASU coincides with a lot of activity in the country. You know 1996, one of the first biggest civil servants strike Yakaito. Some of you might have been in the maternity wards in Anaman. My doctor, but they were led by Dr. Gia and the unions. Remember we produced my leaflet as ZINASU. Atagano supporter now. Then we went into my hospitals, we distributed them. As ZINASU, Taina, comrade Mao. Mao was now the SG for Dr. Kupe. Tishino issue my leaflet in those workplaces. Type in our industries. ZCTU had started what they were calling the labor forums, where people would come in the evenings, like on a Wednesday or Friday, but Shitaura grievances and building this movement. Sakataenda, don't issue a leaflet. The reason why we're putting leaflet is what space you're going to share platform as a student. But my ideas are going to up in Tarambi why kuna kufara campus by use it, but that's what Muswindo Maskana was without demo, leaflet ring ready, rapid and the understand. So this is how we were doing it. Sakapatai people are also saying that this regime is not listening to us. Let's bring in a new constitution that will make sure that we have access to education and so forth. So a lot of things were happening on various fronts. You will remember December 1997, one of the biggest strike I got on workers, working class, student leaders in this country were key and at the forefront. When I keep on and Blau waited for me to speak before they could come. I was so they would look for Shambaro. Because they could not be seen as labor movement, which are out from a workers' party in this country. Where is my because they were representing also workers from ZANU-PF and so forth and so forth. So this was the case. So what happens afterwards is the galvanization movement as we go on, and we located, we planted in various places. Those who were in our leadership, those who immediately left were people like Lenmo. We know Lenmo was deployed to work at the ZCTU Information Center. Aka Tuvaku, 3Gs. Jill Goodlotton in China. He actually left and then he went to work with ZCTU in the information department. Another job scholar was doing various things. Tafaza Secure was also assisting in the labor movement in building this. And Kwakwana NCA, which were also, and we were taking central leadership. I know I was the chairperson of the youth in NCA in Ulawan. Natakura was in the National Assembly, National Executive NCA, and he was my vice president at that time. So we deployed ourselves in the movement. One thing that we defined as our SRC was to say, let's now stop engaging the government of Robert Mugabe. Let's stop engaging them because they've refused to listen to us. We must concentrate now on building an alternative movement. And this was a basic agreement. But one of the most difficult things that we were facing at that time was to be able to tell it to our unions that political party. So we had those insinuations from various campuses, but what we did was to deploy ourselves all over campuses, the non Taitama teams, to Shinda Kuma colleges. Then we addressed my meetings and we also introduced the slogans, if you speak to people of our generation, they will remember those slogans in the various colleges. Kunana Bondof, where they had never been in AGM. Bondof, kwa kwamba wetu waka na AGM, umamusi. Yaka yetu kaipapo wana wakati, chinja, maitiro. And we were sowing the seeds of a revolution against Mugabe. So it's no coincidence that you find now at the time he launched a political party, MDC, student leaders were key. I was the de facto coordinator of the movement for democratic change in Matebele from Rwanda to Wange. Virtually going all over the country to set up my structures. So we participated strongly in the Working People's Convention, where Pakabuda 14 points of which those are Taupinda. And we were tasked to go all over the nation. What the labor movement did then was that we multiplied them teams of 4 people. Teams of 4 people across the nation, divided into 2. So in all those, in both of them, there was supposed to be a student leader. Then we established 12 provinces all over the country. In all those 12 provinces, the coordinator was a ZCTU leader. The vice coordinator was the student leader. So in Matebele, the key coordinator was Gibson Swana, and I was the deputy coordinator. So I became de facto because Gibson was also the president of ZCTU and spent his time in Harare. So I was in Matebele for my issues. Job Scala had led the team in the northern regions, and then was commanding Mashonaland East under somebody. Tafazo Msikiwa was in Mashonaland West, soon after Working People's Convention as a deputy coordinator, but was de facto. I think Angana Dara in Zengere, can't remember. And many others. Nelson was now more or less coordinating between ZINASU and ZCTU at the Chest House in town. So it's no coincidence. Not to say that ZINASU belongs to MDC, besides the point. I'm narrating the history and the role of the Students' Union in determining the political economy of this country to date. So ZINASU sits at a very critical point and a very clear point formation, resistance, Mugabe, or resistance to dictatorship in many years. 1999, 2000, and there's no doubt about that. In the years that succeeded, people have been building that momentum around that. And ZINASU is not coincidence that it is there. It's not a coincidence that now MDC is being led by an ex-ZINASU person. Never mind the circumstances, but it is the reality. Len Mojobe became one of the spokespersons in the executive of the MDC, top 6 executive in the interim. It was only myself and Len Mojobe, the ZINASU leaders, who were sitting in that, amongst other 4 men. There were no women. It's unfortunate. So the ZINASU was there, Vavakutanga, and even at the launch, then more people come. Sakayanga Eripa Citadel. But the fundamental reason why ZINASU had become part and parcel of this fight was the struggle for the emancipation education sector. A fight against the cutbacks, a fight against ISAP. This is why we were able to unite with the labor movement, because we're fighting for the same thing in fighting the regime. So, going into the future, it is not a coincidence that you will find yourself at the center of the national discourse and center of articulating discussions of how Zimbabwe must go forward. And traditionally, labor is your ally. There is no way you can run away from that natural phenomenon. First, by birth, and second, by the reason you have to defend the special repo. I no longer have the time. I was telling colleagues that I have to run to go back and cook at home. Time I think they are limited, but you have the time and the space to be able to champion those ideas. And so where is Zimbabwe now? The ideas that we were fighting against in 1995, 2000, around the incubation years now, are the same issues that confront you today, albeit in a different environment. During that time, information is not, there was no MDC. Now there's MDC. A fight for all the fighting a war is against the regime. But the issues, the questions, the cutback of education are still there. You are paying through the nose to go to school in America. Can also not fees away to school. So for me, I look forward to seeing a more vicious ZINASU than the ZINASU that we led. Ours had fat pockets, yours had empty pockets. You have reason to fight and scavenge for that food. This is the mandate, I guess, your fellow student leaders have given you. Kuno fight and bring back the payout, bring back the freedom for the Zimbabweans. But if you fight for it alone, in isolation as students, people will look at you as the elitists and so forth. What about us, the poor? So you must be able to generalize the issues and reverberate with the communities that you are coming from. What are they talking about in Nikawan? I know Kwando Vine they are talking about, they want water. They want triggers, they want all these issues. What are they talking about in Mavu? They also talk about water. They want a clinic. They want Mapoto's Hagazin. So you have to open your ears and be the thermometer of the national issues and ensure that you galvanize your fight with the support of the entire nation. But all this is not insurmountable. It's not. Mako wanda so. ZINASU general council you take no sangana 37 gana 8. But in Makawanda. And now we have the advantage of good communication is now easier. It's just a snail mail. Ukunyoro yashika ilisambe kuti vaziwe kuti kune general council. Kana SG wakaibata wakaisa msamba. Amwiwoni wenda woga. Those were the days. But now we have social media. You have a lot of other spaces that you can use. And let me warn you, social media is not a mobilizer. The mobilizer is you in the ideas that you have. What social media can only do is to take garbage in and take it out. So if you feed garbage into social media, what you produce is garbage with an exponentially grown pungent smell. In social media, what you reap is what? The best results. So what you saw in Egypt is not that people were WhatsApp or Facebook. It is because ideas that were articulated on Facebook and WhatsApp managed to make people unite and gather and go forward. So don't look at WhatsApp as a mobilizer and jump in the whole wagon and say, kwani social media mazano achogona kuchaya. It can only work for those that are organized. Imagine you can be ZINASU on paper and in press conferences. You know, it's easy. It's easy for you to define yourself as an existing organization because you can afford to pay $100 for the media center to have a press conference. I'm provoking you today to say, let the news follow you. You must be newsworthy. You must ask yourselves, who is going to cry? If you are not going to find anybody who is going to cry because ZINASU Yafa, you must ask yourself, are we doing the proper thing? Ndokusiria kuti chambe. Kune nyaya yekunzi zikosi inonzi yazara mumakambasis. Inondisa munyaviri nyaya iyoyo ndikaita. You are allowing a dictatorship to find life in your seedbed. The spaces where you can develop leaflets and circulate and mobilize. I know but the sole reason for your existence is to fight that Nzara, and you can only mobilize. And I know it's not easy. I know in Ulawa, when you would go to inside and say, guys, don't you put Demura with us, and you can invest without any payout. Those ideas will reverberate, but you can only deal with them if you challenge them, and that's sacrifice. I remember addressing a GM at a hillside. They were beating drums. There was a whole packet of drum ceiling. This is your noise on a shawarma table. And those ideas continue to come. But please, because even the biggest and largest student movement in this country, I think it's an insult to the origins of ZINASU. And it must perish. So your vision about the future should be a stronger student movement and a better Zimbabwe. Not your nice BMW, not your nice Mercedes-Benz, not your Porsche and live life in the NGO sector in this country, but your future. You must be able to one day you tick and say, I was walking on the correct side of history. And it was to identify yourself with the struggle. You're saying the victory is certain, and I think you will be guided by that in the way that you go. So you sit in a position not of privilege, but you sit in a position to make sure that you deliver to the multitudes. I meet quite a number of students that I went through with during college.